And we hit these kind of results. Those people who make it to the top of the mountain, get to the top, and one of three things happens. One, you get up there and you're like, was this it? Is this what I was going for? Like, I thought it would feel different, right? Or you get, you fall off the mountain because life kicks you around. You learn you need to change things about yourself. You're not all that. It's very, I always say, success and money exposes you. It either grows you or exposes you. So sometimes you're exposed, you get knocked around. And then sometimes life takes you out and knocks you off that mountain. And Brooks talks about that second mountain is after you figure one of those three things out, you look up and it becomes not about a summit, but a summons. A calling. It draws you to the top. You'll fight blood, tooth, and nail. It's harder than anything you've ever imagined. It requires more, but it changes. And I read that book, and it was the first time I think I was born on Mountain 2.
From the halls of Loveland High School to impacting every corner of the world, I'm here today with Danelle Delgado to talk about her story of triumph over adversity and why it's important to focus not on your first thought, but the second thought, which is your truth. Check it out. Are you a faith-based father and looking for intentional ways to connect with your son in a big way? If so, you have to check out the Father-Son Hike of a Lifetime on the Camino de Santiago in Spain. June 2025, I am taking a group of faith-based fathers and their sons over to Spain for 9 days and the adventure of a lifetime. Go check it out at mattshoup.com/Spain. On that page, you'll actually see all of my upcoming Spain adventures, but make sure to check out the Father-Son Hike of a Lifetime. Danelle Delgado, what's up?
Good to see you.
We've known each other for a long time.
Longer than most people have been alive.
That's crazy. We're old. My kids calling me ancient. And
I know.
We were talking about stuff from the 80s and 90s, and they're like, what is that?
Right?
Yeah.
You remember, though, like looking at our parents when they were like 40, 45 and thinking they were so old? I don't feel like we look that old. Have we aged better?
I think we just do. We just don't realize it. Because Emily goes, we look old.
I know.
Did my parents
Sometimes
look
when
that
I
old?
wake up, I was like, I should do something about this.
But then,
Oh, no.
here, I got yours. But then we go back. So I go back to the yearbook. So we're Loveland High.
Wait, what did I
Indians.
sign?
No. We're Indians, right? Can we still say we're Indians?
I don't
Where is
wear
it?
a wolf shirt. I wear the Indian one or just the L. Oh, no.
There's yours.
I'm a tree hugger. This is terrible.
You hugged a tree.
I
Look
did.
at those. Hold that up. Look at those bangs.
Look at this. Where's the close-up? This is terrible.
So
Who
class of
allowed me
97,
to do that?
Loveland High.
Hold it up to the one that's like right in front, like
Right here?
the one
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like looking at you.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, this one.
Right here.
This is terrible.
Point at it.
You owe me this.
Oh, look at that hair.
We've come a long
I
way.
had bangs. What happened?
Them
When we were
bangs,
that-
them bangs are banging.
But when we were that young, did we realize we looked that young?
No, I was a
'Cause
baby.
Looking back, I thought, like, these guys are babies. There's mine.
Let's see it.
Hold it up to your camera, Shoup.
Oh, yeah. See, look how young we look. We are so young.
Somebody
You know-
signed "pimp" next to my name. I didn't write that. Just so you know, I was not a pimp.
That is hilarious.
There we go.
I'm just looking at the quotes. The virtue lies in the struggle, not in the prize. That is interesting.
That's a good quote.
Isn't that interesting for how my life took a turn afterwards? I definitely
Yes.
invited struggle.
You did. You invited it right in.
Right?
I've got "Don't let anything stop you from reaching your goals."
What's crazy is I do think humans have those through lines that we know who we are from the very beginning. Look, my message hasn't changed that much from when I was 17, like everything we need to learn is in what we overcome. Like, that's pretty cool. I never would have noticed that. I don't even think I have that yearbook.
Yeah, I got them. I got them buried down in the buckets in the basement. I'm like, I'm
Keep those
grabbing
bangs
today.
buried.
So you grew up here in Loveland.
Yep.
Just talk about those coming up years, because I mean, you have gone through a lot.
Yeah.
You're doing such amazing things. We were just talking offline, and we've really reconnected over the past just couple of months here.
Right.
For knowing each other for so many decades.
Right.
And you're leaning back into something that's super cool with your speaking
Yeah.
and your adventures and your trips, and just take us back to some of those highlights. And
Yeah, sure. I think, there's so many people as adults that I think they spend their life overcoming their childhood, right? Like thinking it was something they had to overcome. I think mine was building me for what I needed to go do. Yep. And so, I was a gymnast growing up. That was I had divorced parents. It was a little bit hard. Dad, alcoholic, mom working a million jobs, trying to just provide for us. And so I just learned how to work. And to overcome that, I went to the gym and I practiced and I practiced and gymnastics teaches like no pain, no gain. Right. And so it was like brutal. I remember breaking my tailbone one day on the beam at a meet, split the beam, broke my tailbone. Like we have video of it, hands on the beam, looking up at my coach. And he was like, finish,
Is that Glover?
Yeah. Yeah. I love him. He changed my life. Huh? Yeah. He's amazing. And get up, finish, and you do. And I think that translated into life. Like, hey, you're going to have some challenges, but all you know how to do is finish. And I think that's the thing. Most people are great starters and terrible finishers. Yep. And I didn't know how to not finish. And it was the greatest gift. So that was kind of my Loveland upbringing. I was shy, quiet, never spoke up, Well,
and even though we were in school together, I don't think we didn't run in the same circles.
Nope. I didn't even ride in a circle. I was like silent.
Yeah. Pretty
like
quiet.
Mute. Yeah. Just shy. Until probably my junior or senior year, I didn't even really have a voice. Yeah.
Do you think with, growing up in the family you had divorced parents, you said alcoholic dad, having that struggle and that friction and those things that were there, right? Like, that's an issue.
Sorry.
Was that gym an escape? Was that something you think to lean into?
Yeah. I think it was lesson number one in, our brain can run away with us, right? I was sick all the time. I think I was a depressed kid. I remember having a challenge where even one of the teachers, an older teacher and her husband, took me home for a weekend and just poured into me and loved on me. I remember her name was Sharon Siri. She was very old back when I was in, middle school, whatever. And I think it was like this, like the beginning of the pattern of you are what you think about. I was thinking about pain. I was going down the wrong path, but a great kid, and give them something else to think about. So when I really leaned into gymnastics, I had something to think about that was progress. You get better. You train the same thing a million times until you get it right. Repetition, repetition, repetition. And I liked winning. I didn't like being bad. And so I'd do it we'd be done with practice and I'd go do 3 more.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. So I think that was the beginning of the habit that probably saved my life. When things are hard, when things are bad, you're either going to think of it and hang out with it, or you're going to give your brain something else to think about that's going to be good. So we're in control of that.
Yeah. People don't realize that though, how easy that shift can be. Mm-hmm. So like we say, hey, easy now, like after the decades of personal development and speaking and everything that we've been exposed to, but like somebody who's sitting there right now that hears you say that and they're like, well, that's bold.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It felt like I thought it was too.
That simple though, right?
It really is. I remember having a mentor who I was when I first started learning to sell. Right. And she sat in the car next to me and she was like, a thought is a thing, Danelle, quit. And I was like, I remember rolling my eyes and verbally being like, you're full of crap. Right. And it really is that simple. I didn't get it. Every thought is contagious to every cell in our body, right? If you look in the mirror and you roll your eyes, you don't like what you look like, well, you're going to underperform that day because that's what you're, sending through your whole body. Ooh, I don't like it. I'm not. So why would anyone do life or business with someone who didn't like themselves? Yeah. It's the same thing of you're nervous for speaking, presenting at work. You're nervous to have a conversation with your spouse. Whatever it is you're thinking is what you are creating. And it took a little while to believe in that. And I even couldn't just go to thinking positive thoughts. I couldn't train my brain out of it. I had to write gratitude. I wrote gratitude 10 a day, every single day, over and over until my brain automatically just started choosing abundance.
You just go there. But that's
I'm
a muscle that you've got to build. It's reps you got to take.
Yeah. It's like day 1 at the gym. Just write 10 things you're grateful for. When things are going bad, go do something good. It is our chance to do like whatever we want. Yeah.
So who were some of those early influencers, in terms of, because I know that you've been with a lot of organizations and speaking, like lots of like coaches and just people that have poured into you, but who are some of the most memorable ones that were the most impactful for you?
Yeah, I think, number one, books became my circle, not people. In the beginning, I couldn't get out of my current audience, my close friends, my family. When you get divorced, like I got a whole story. You can look it up on the internet, right? But when you get divorced, everyone around you is real opinionated. They choose sides.
They take sides.
Right?
Yep.
Which is fair. I get it. Like, they have beliefs. If you don't speak up, everyone believes what they want to, usually the worst. And so my current circle was like disappointed in me, sad, suspicious, right? All these things. And so that's what I was in. And I was like, this is not helping me. Everyone is doubting me. And I already have enough self-doubt, and they say you can't ever out-earn your self-esteem or your circle. My self-esteem was crushed. My circle was crushed. And so I had to do something else. So I started reading books. Books were more my number one. And I never even finished a book in college, and I almost got my medical degree. So be glad I'm not your doctor or your nurse, because I didn't ever read. So I started listening to audiobooks, books, those kinds of things were my heroes. Then, and those were like the voices in my head. So if I was filling it with new information, good, from The Magic of Thinking Big, From Good to Great, to all of those old books that teach you these things, they felt truer to me than any people ever could. Then I went on a hunt to meet those authors. And I went and found them at events all over. Tim Grover was a huge influence in my life. He was Michael Jordan, Kobe, all of their coaches, took care of their bodies, their mental state mostly as well. And I read Relentless, and that book talked about the dark side in every human being, but it gave it permission to be good and not something bad and to be ashamed of, right? And I was like, I could use my hard parts as good. Like, it felt refreshing. It felt like, oh, I'm not Satan. I'm not going to hell for making mistakes. I need to train it. It talked about just that relentless power to finish, which I had. So it spoke life into me. So I wrote down in my journal as a goal, I was going to meet Tim Grover. Like, I actually wrote specifically, I want to have lunch with Tim Grover. I wrote it down. I had a pro basketball player come into my world, and I was like, do you know Tim?
Right.
Do you know Tim? I'm gonna find Tim. I'm gonna have lunch. And he would just laugh at me like, you're insane. Like, how is that ever gonna happen? Sure enough, a year later, I was speaking at an event, and I was at the VIP lunch. I was like the youngest, most inexperienced, had made the least amount of money speaker at this event. And I'm in the VIP room having lunch. He wasn't even on the roster to speak, so I didn't know he would be there. And there's a tap on my shoulder. I hadn't spoken at the event, so nobody knew who I was yet. So I'm like sitting by myself at this table. I get a tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Tim Grover, and he says, is there room at the table? And I was like, and I just word vomited all over him. Oh my God. I said I would have lunch with you. Here's what you did on page whatever of your book. This is what I read. It changed my life. He was like, so could I sit down then? And I was like, I'm so sorry, sit down. Yeah. And it started an incredible friendship where many times in my life he would mentor, shoot me texts that changed my life, those kinds of things. So I found my way there to create the circle that changed my life.
And isn't that cool how when you're sitting there and you look up to like this big author, speaker, business person, they're this persona, right?
Yeah.
And they're just people.
Yep.
And you just reach out.
Yeah.
Just reach out and see if they want to get together and have a coffee.
Way easier
you're
to meet
in town, stop by.
Big people than you think. Everybody's like, I could never get there. I'm like, you can get to actors and actresses, authors, anyone, because nobody's that brave.
Yeah.
I was.
You just try.
Just
shoot it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So those kind of people really changed how I thought. And I learned that, and the bigger they got, like the more important people, the more I was like, oh, these are just normal humans who have decided to become extraordinary with their habits, and they finish what they start.
And they're just consistent, right? Because
that's it. They just do daily, right? No 0 days.
Yes. And social media, right? Because everybody sees the, and it's all fake. Joey did a great post. Would you post that dude with the Lamborghini that he rented?
That
everybody, you get the
tool,
Lambo.
That tool,
The Insta
whether
fluids.
that's real or not, but they show, they hook you with whatever your pain is. They show you the end result, but forget, like, that's 30 years of work.
Right.
That people aren't ready for. So they think, I'm just going to go
the ugly
buy
daily
your program,
work.
do this. No, you got to do it every day.
Yep.
Up early, every day, finish strong.
Yeah.
You're going to have down days. You're going to have bad days, but you just got to keep going.
You go again. Like that was my goal.
Yeah.
Was just don't have a 0 day, Danelle. You got to provide for your kids. Make one sale a day. In the beginning, that's where I started. Just make one sale a day. If you make one sale a day every day, you're not going to be homeless. Like that's where it starts. And then it was one thought a day. You need to have $1 billion thought a day. If you have, right? And then they become, all your thoughts become that way, and then it's success is boring. Right? Like I wish people would have told me that. It's like, it's so mundane. You feel like people get bursts of energy and think that's going to be success. Yeah. They have a great month and they're like, oh, I'm like, I never had like a burst of energy success. It was like the right things every day. That's what works.
Yeah. So when you start getting into that space, because you were out of high school and then college, as you got into the church world, right? You were building youth organization. Was that your profession or was that just volunteering?
No, it was. So I dropped out of the medical side of school. And the fastest way to get my degree was to teach science and health. And so I started teaching. And then our church needed a youth pastor. They needed somebody to take kids on a trip. I was the only one who was qualified and legally allowed to be with children. And so they asked if I would, and I got the bug. I mean, I had always volunteered. I loved youth group. It was a big part of my upbringing. And they offered to pay me more than my teaching salary. And I was like, maybe I'm supposed to be here. Yeah. This would be great. So I built a massive youth organization for 5 years. And I always tell people that was my first business. I was raising my own funds. I was getting people to work for me for free. So I was learning how to empower a team. I was training leadership. It really was.
Casting a vision, building
I was pouring into the top 10 kids who had the most influence, and my leaders I was pouring into my top 20 volunteers. Like I grew this beast from like 10 kids to like 250. We had to build a building. I had to help raise funding. I had all these wild ideas, midnight tubing. I was basically a grown-up kid. And it was amazing. And, until you get a divorce and then you're not really allowed in leadership so much.
Yeah. So that was
the turning point.
The turning point was that, right?
Yeah. And it was, then it seemed like the most devastating loss. And I was regretful, resentful of people. Like I've poured into you guys my whole life, and because I'm having a challenge, I'm no longer worthy of helping families, and everyone talking about things. And that's where I turned at first. And then I learned, all that happened for me to become what I was capable of. I never would have gone and changed the world how I am now if I hadn't. And it had nothing to do with people, nor what I had done, nor what anyone had done. It was about me learning my capacity and not staying small.
Yeah. And in the church, had another guest on here. They crucify you the most, whenever anything happens, like the people that just show you, right? The most grace and care come alongside you. They don't always do that.
Yeah. And I really think it's everywhere, right? If people are not constantly working on their own personal growth, it's way easier to point a finger. And it's just human nature. Now I see when people point fingers at me, I just ask them, are you okay? Yeah. Like it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with how they see the world. Everyone treats the world in the way that serves them the best.
Do you need a new roof or new paint job on your home or business and live in Northern Colorado? If so, check out one of our sponsors, M&E Painting and Roofing. We've been around for 20 years here in the community, and full disclosure, I am the M in M&E. Check them out at mdepainting.com. Are you a business owner who is struggling to understand and navigate the world of digital media? If so, check out one of our sponsors, Imprint Digital. They are the go-to source for everything digital related to your business. Not only are they a sponsor, but they also take care of all of our company's website. They produce this podcast, and I highly recommend them. Check them out at imprint-digital.com. Yes.
Right? And
they're living their own story, their own reality. It works for them.
Yeah. And when you learn that, you kind of become unoffendable. Like it really doesn't matter what people think of me. I think of it because I do care what people think, because it allows me to impact people more. So if I need to adjust a little bit so they can grow and hear my message, I'll do that. But it doesn't change who I am. It's like this. It's the gentle art of leadership. It is an art. It takes reps. It takes complete emotional control. Yeah. Right? And that's something that can only be built. You're not born with it.
Yeah, and you've got to take note of people that are giving you feedback that matter in your life, and they have space and relevance. They're like, hey, you're a little off on your message,
right?
Versus some schmo that just doesn't like you, and they don't like anybody or anything or themselves, so they're going to hate you no matter what your message is.
Right.
And you've got to distinguish who those
You've got to be a great
know,
sorter of information.
Yeah. So when do you get into selling, right? So you're getting into sales, but what were some of those early, right? So you're running a youth group, right? Like done with school, teaching, youth group.
Gosh.
Now you're selling. What are you selling? Fun of me. No, but what are you selling? And I was probably selling it too. I think you and I have probably sold a million different things.
So, the rifle turn of someone who needs extra money. When I was going through the divorce, I took on extra jobs. I had 3 jobs, and I got into network marketing because that's what happens in a town where you need to, I needed to learn sales. I needed to learn how to do that. And so it was like parents and families and all these things in my living room. When I was working to learn how to sell, it was terrible. Even my mentors were like, we think you should maybe do something else because you're going to go broke. You're not going to be able to provide for your kids. You're really bad at this. I didn't know the language. And so that's when I went back to how I did gymnastics, the study, the art of something. Yeah. I read every book I learned. I practiced. I wrote out sales scripts. I got to the heart of what people really wanted more than sales. And I brought my uniqueness of caring for people, kind of that uncommon care that I just had for people, into the sales world. And I built really big. I built really big in that industry until I fell out of love with how people did that business. And I felt like there was a lot of coercion, manipulation. It didn't have to be there. It's what happens when people are in charge of things.
Yeah.
And I just knew I was ready to move on. And I said, if I'm teaching people how to make money so they can actually go do what they care about, why don't I just teach them how to monetize what they care about? That there's a step that we could take out here. Everything's monetizable. And I just learned some of those skills. So that's when I went into building my own sales training company, doing big events, online masterminds, training, summits, before it was cool, right?
What years are you in network marketing? Because I always watched that from the outside.
Yeah.
Had some opinions about it. Then I jumped in with one.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting world. They teach you a lot of skill sets, and the people that win in network marketing, they do the things that you're supposed to do. They do the things.
Yeah.
I have thoughts about that industry.
Yeah. Right? I was 2009 to 2013.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And then I built my own in 2014 and never looked back, scaled it into everything you could imagine: retreats, trainings, big summits, bringing in big name speakers. Yeah. I did all the things, online masterminds. I did women's events. I did everyone events. Then I, as I was scaling and doing all of these things, then I started doing VIP clients. These owners of companies were asking how I did stuff on social media and how to brand their companies. And then they were like, wait, can you train our sales team? So then I moved into the corporate space and I started training sales teams. Then I started these corporations, had massive results, and they were like, can you do that for ours? I was like, no, I have no more time. And so I built a program to train corporations.
Yes.
And then that flew out the window. And then I got introduced into how else could we help companies monetize taxes, health benefits. It's wild.
Yeah. So did you think, so 2014, when you were starting this, did you think it would be what it is today?
No.
Were you just holding on, jumping in?
Yeah.
So, obviously you're divorced.
I'm scared to death.
Single mom.
Yeah.
Young kids.
Yeah. Scraping by.
Yeah. Scraping by. Growing up. We talked offline. Just growing up, just depressed, right?
Yeah. All I wanted
Your
was.
people are not supporting you.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody
Everybody doubted me. So they were watching. So in the beginning, there was a little bit of ego in there. I'm going to go prove it. Yeah. But it kind of made me advance mean and arrogant and say dumb things, right? Is
there a point when you should do that though? Sorry to interrupt, but
in the beginning.
When I started, I was the same way.
Whatever makes you get started.
This dude fires me and humiliates me in an office and says put all your shit in a box. You go be a painter. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna come back and I'll show you one day.
Oh, I made a hit list.
You had a hit list?
I wrote them up on a wall and was like,
you had names you throw
I did. No, I just was like, I'm going to show you. Past you. But it was almost like a hit list to do good, which is hilarious. But it hurt me that people I loved and had helped would hate me when I just wanted to matter, right? I felt like I didn't matter. I felt like I wanted to do something different. I felt like people said, oh, you love money, not God. And that bothered me. I was like, I feel like you're misunderstanding the Bible. I feel like I can't help people being poor. So I got to fix something, right? And so I just went to disprove it. Even in the beginning, I gave away all my money because I was afraid to earn any, like it was disrespectful and not the right thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, this doesn't help me build things bigger. I have to figure this out. So I think it was a journey of me of writing new rules that made sense to my principles and values, right? Have you ever read The Second Mountain? It's a really good book.
No. Who wrote that?
David Brooks. So, David Brooks wrote a book called The Second Mountain. It talks about the first mountain as this journey we climb where we're building our own identity. We're stepping away from our parents. We're proving our image. We hit these kind of results. Those people who make it to the top of the mountain get to the top, and one of three things happens. One, you get up there and you're like, is this it? Is this what I was going for? Like, I thought it would feel different, right? Or you fall off the mountain because life kicks you around. You learn you need to change things about yourself. You're not all that. I always say, success and money exposes you. It either grows you or exposes you. So sometimes you're exposed, you get knocked around. And then sometimes life takes you out and knocks you off that mountain. And Brooks talks about that second mountain is after you figure one of those three things out, you look up and it becomes not about a summit, but a summons. A calling. It draws you to the top. You'll fight blood, tooth, and nail. It's harder than anything you've ever imagined. It requires more, but it changes. And I read that book, and it was the first time I think I was born on Mountain 2. I don't think I ever cared so much about some of the identity proving. I was like, I wanted to matter from day one. But anyway, everyone kind of finds themselves in that book.
Through that, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody, because I remember starting M&E and getting fired and getting up there. And it was like maybe 4 years in, 5 years in, like 09. Like we went from nothing to like, we're having different issues right now. And people are asking to speak and I don't know what to do with it. But I got up there and I'm like, man, this was all about me. I didn't bring anybody up the mountain with me. So that was part of my journey. But I'll check that book out. That's super interesting. You said a couple of things. You went into things with that, like I'm gonna prove you. And there's a drive there. Like when I remember getting kicked out of the bank for like 24 months. Every time I knocked on a door, closed a deal, I was like, F that guy at the bank.
Right.
I was.
Right.
And that grew a $1 million business and then a multi-million-dollar business. And you can do that, but you can't do that for too long because you come off a certain way, you show up a certain way.
Yeah.
I wasn't keeping people around. I was not pleasant to work for.
Right.
So how do you make that shift? I mean, there's some benefit in it.
Yeah, there is. Because you have to win.
A short time. You got to go out and you got to smash things and crush things and win.
Yeah, I always say this. People do life and business with those who increase their odds of winning. So if you're winning, people will want to do life and business with you, even if you did it by force, right? So in the beginning, I got attention just for winning. And they needed to see me win, so they knew that they could bet on me a little bit. Yep. But then there becomes a time when you do enough personal growth where you're not winning and like protecting yourself. You're winning and you're seeing who else you can help protect.
Yes.
Right. And so it becomes, and that is one of the skills that I think I had was I was building communities all over the place just because I cared for people. So I even did network marketing different than other people. People who knew me way back then are still like, she's still the same. She loves people. She works hard, and so it became about all those connections. And when this translate to the stage, when I first went out on stage, I would like throw up backstage. I was so nervous. It was not my skill. I was shaky. I didn't trust myself. And I was like, I would pray, like, just make a difference for one person. Yeah. Right. And then as it grew and I saw, oh my gosh, stop thinking about yourself. You're not here to be brave and help one person. You're here to change the lives of everyone in the room. Yeah. Use the gift. And so when it shifted from me to serve everyone who's there, I could possibly impact 1,000 lives today. Speak boldly, say your truth, just tell your side of the story, right? Yep. So when it turned to service, I started making connections everywhere. I would get more speaking engagements. I would sell more things. And then it was about helping other people win. So it became about all those testimonials and things. And I think the moment you see that you can win, it transitions into, I must help others win. And when that happens, everything scales. Your life, your relationships, your business, you're more careful with your words. You stop doing things from pain and you start doing things from healing. I tell people that all the time. I said, people think that healing comes from healing work, digging into the depths of things. I don't. I think it comes from winning. I think every win heals a little bit of me and allows me to help more people. Yeah. And that's where real healing is. It's in what you can do for others. And all the stuff with yourself works out.
That shift though from yourself, because you go up on, you mentioned this earlier, like you go onto a stage and you're like, I'm nervous to speak, and you start feeling a certain way. That's the same as being excited to serve. It's the same feelings
same energy
in your body. And I was told to like sit down and shut up in elementary school, so we
all were. I think our whole generation
who thought we'd be speaking, right? And getting paid like good money to do it.
Yeah.
But so your first speaking gig, do you remember it? And where was it? When
it was in a hotel conference room.
Okay. Was this for network marketing? Was it? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I was speaking at the youth group. Actually, let's go back. Let's go way back. This is what happened. So I was speaking to the youth group kids. I think because I was comfortable for me. I loved kids. There's no real judgment there. They were middle schoolers, so you'd think there's judgment, but I was like, cool. So it was fine.
That's a unique time in life. Like,
it is. Yeah, and I really just wanted to help them. So it worked out.
Yep.
But I remember at the church, I walked by and the women's ministry leader was crying in the hallway. And I was like, and I worked with the youth kids, and I'm like, here's the little youth pastor hopping in. And I was like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? Can I help? And she was like, well, our speaker for this weekend, Beth Moore, just canceled. Isn't coming. We have 500 women coming to this massive event, and we have no speaker. And I was like, I could do it. Like, I just wanted to help. And then she was like, great, send me a headshot. This is perfect. And like walked off. And I was like, a headshot? What's a headshot?
You're about to find out, aren't you?
Right? And look, I'm getting goosebumps right now, even thinking about it. And she walked off, and I started crying and was like, what am I supposed to tell women? I'm 22. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I had like 24 hours to write a speech. And I was so nervous. I don't even remember what I said, but I still have people come up to me who goes, I remember that talk you gave about the potter and the clay, and it changed my whole life. And I was like, so I think sometimes we have to be urged to use our gifts immediately where we don't think about it. And I got thrust in so many spots where I had to use a gift immediately that I didn't even know I had and develop it. And it was the same in the hotel conference room and everything. But I used it to help someone else instead of myself. And that was probably a big key for me to learn, is that I'll do it for others way before I'll do it for myself. I had to learn how to do it for myself, how to fight and build something. But yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And when you focus on others and whatever you do, like you'll always win. You'll always come out ahead. But then there's also that side of it where you do have to be selfish, right? Like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
And then you talked about this too.
When we're out of coffee, we're in trouble.
We're almost out. That's the strong stuff though. How you doing? You getting little shakes?
That's perfect.
You good?
But same in our life, right? Yeah. When we're empty.
When you're empty, there's nothing to give. Well, and you talked about this too, growing up in, because faith was part of your life growing up, right? You're a Jesus follower and growing up in the church. And there's this really interesting dynamic. I'm writing about this in the book, is there's the prosperity gospel on this end where like, give this online preacher your money and that's all. Yeah. That's all BS. Give this guy money, God's going to bless you. Well, we know that's not true. But then there's also Christians. They're like, well, I'm just gonna live in poverty, and no, I'm waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting for God to show up and get me off my butt. Yeah. To go work. Yeah. When they know they're called to something. Yeah. So like, they're not telling you to be poor and not work. So how do you manage this space? Because this is really interesting for me. Yeah. And then you have all this like new age Christianity where that's a whole nother thing, but you go make millions of dollars, right? You make a bunch of money when you've served a bunch of people, and Christians have a lot to say about it.
They do. You
don't give enough away. It's like you should mind your own business and worry about your own walk and your own faith and your own heart and your own whatever. I know. But like, how do you manage that and just balance that? Like, what does the Bible say? Right. So I think, because that's a weird space to be in. Here's
what I learned, because I got so much judgment when, why aren't you going to church? Where are you going to church? Old youth group kids or their parents would message and go, we see you doing so great, but we sure hope you still love Jesus. And I'm like, no, I decided to choose Satan. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your backhanded compliment.
For checking in.
Like if you're gonna make if you're gonna take a shot, like take a right in my face shot. Those backhanded ones are the best. I was
like, why would you not call and be like, are you okay? Who are you serving right now? Are you going to church? Do you need community? Like, I always wondered what happens in someone's heart but it's just lack of self-esteem where they would serve in that kind of a comment. But here's how I navigated it. I don't know that it's correct. I know that it worked for me. I knew the Bible. I knew what it said. I knew what it talked about giving 10%. And for me, leaving and having nobody speak values into me for a segment of time, like people are like, oh, your family, you're everything. I'm like, they did exactly what I needed. Stepped away and let me think for myself. Right? It was exactly what I needed. Nobody feel bad. And I owe them huge thank yous probably. But I was able to write new rules based on how I interpreted it. Right? And so I started writing down a couple of things, 2 main lines. 1, my dollars must make change. And number 2, I needed to teach the principle of work so hard you can give like crazy. Because my 10% needs to multiply, right? So I was like, okay, let's make my dollars make change. Let me do this. So all I started doing was teaching to every group that I was teaching. I said, hey, can I just make a deal with you guys that anyone I help you make more money, you will give 10% to the charity of your choice. And it just started becoming a thing. And then I said, and when you do, you send me documentation of it, because I want to know all the places we're serving. So they did, and I started writing it down. I started keeping a board of all the places where my work was helping. And I started to teach people, I'd be like, listen, what are the rules for you? What does the Bible mean to you? It's supposed to be an interpretation for you and your God and your connection and your personal relationship. And so I started just making new rules, teaching that principle, and it started bringing generosity to the whole world. And I think it was just my job to open my mouth and say, here's what the Bible means to me. What's it mean to you? Where do you want to give? What do you want to do? Document it, be accountable to it, turn it back in. And then I started being like, well, I've decided to give 20%. Yeah. Who wants to join me this time?
It's like, read it, understand it, think for yourself, make a commitment and do it.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
So you're at 20%.
Yeah. Well, I'm even...
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm probably a lot more.
but saying, hey, I'm just going to double what everybody thinks it is, right?
And I also do this. This is kind of my thing. I really listen to my guts, I think that's, the Holy Spirit in there. I think that's goodness in there. And so if somebody's on my heart, like I wake up and I think of a random human from growing up, I'll just send a message and go, you popped in my head today. I hope you're great. I prayed for you this morning. Or if they're not a believer, I'll just say, I was thinking of you. Is there anything you need? How can I serve you? And so when I'm online and I see GoFundMe's, because people are very opinionated about those. I used to be like, okay, GoFundMe for everything. This is weird. My family raised me to earn all of my own mission trip money. And, I was never given to, don't donate to me. But I really listen to my intuition, just my instincts. And if something pops up and there's a story I love, my favorite thing is to finish the GoFundMe's. So if they're close, I'll just pay off the end anonymously. Sometimes I put my name on it. I want people to see me giving, so they give. Because if they do what I do, I want them to see that. Yeah. That arrogance or not, I'm like, great, do what I do. Right? So sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I love doing that. If I feel like I should give, I give. And so my tax team will always be like, we can't write off any more donations the things that
capped out.
You're doing, or you can't gift anymore. I was like, sure, I can. Just put it in somewhere else,
What a cool problem, though. Yeah. What a cool conversation to have with your tax accountants
and
your
affect
planners.
anyone.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love that.
So, and then I started playing a little game with myself and going, what do you really want to give this year? I'd find whichever charity or movement that I wanted to in January. I'll write down my goal to earn this year, which is more than I've done the year before. Yep. And I'll write down the 10, 20%, whatever it is I'm going to give. And I'll call that charity and I'll say, in December, expect a check from me for this. And it was something, because I know I'll serve other people more than myself, I wouldn't let them down. I can't leave kids without shoes. Yeah. I can't leave that community without water. And so I started doing things to hold myself accountable to giving and sharing those. I started doing tip the bill, whatever the bill is, I tip the human being, in a couple seasons, and just teaching those things online and seeing other people do it. The more I challenge myself to give, the more other people would. And then they're like, man, I'm being blessed. How do you explain that? And it opened up a conversation about faith.
Yeah. And not only do so you're not focusing on yourself, you're focusing on others, but then you're making commitments to others that you can't let down, right? Because it's just easier. Well, I said I'd sell this much, I didn't. Okay, and you make an excuse, right? It's like, no, I just told 1,000 kids in Africa they're going to get water,
right?
And
they're going to get water.
They're going to get water.
Yeah.
There's no
either I'm
option.
earning it or raising it. Whatever we're doing, they're going to have that.
They're going to get it.
But I think it's I think my biggest fear it leads into this, right? Was underachieving, under-delivering for someone, for myself, for anybody I care about. And so I almost put myself in hard situations so that I will never under-deliver, because I might for myself. That's my fear, but I won't for others. So it's almost like finding a way to game your own life so that you won't disappoint yourself or somebody you love, Do
you have that? It's because you're always wanting to do more and bigger and better. So do you still have that, like, it's not enough, you need to do more? Like, how do you work through that? Because I have that too.
Yeah.
I think we come from some similar story and experience, and there's a reason we do that. Like, there's deep-seated reason we do that, and wherever it comes from, but it's like, it's always better.
Yeah.
But it's always not enough.
It's always not enough.
Can you ever just sit back? And I know I have trouble with this and just say, like, look at everything you've built.
Yeah.
Like, God tells you, like, this is enough. Like, I'm calling you to more, but you're good. You've done good.
I won't ever feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's because, I've lived very closely on the line of not making it, mental health wise and physical health wise. Yeah. And I look at life differently. I feel like I'm a 90-year-old in a 40-year-old's body, right? Like, everybody gets to be young. Not everybody gets to be old. I see people die all the time. I have my memories on Facebook pop up with clients who are no longer alive all the time. And I just can't think that I was given a shot here from a great God and I didn't deliver for it. Like, even my daughter, right? We have seniors and kids that are like graduating, and I'm like, there's not enough moments. I have more to teach you. Like, I just feel like I'm always running out of time, but I think that I do. Like, we're born to ascend. We're born, we roll, we crawl, we walk, we run. Those who train become Olympic athletes. I am continuing to ascend as I am supposed to. And people ask me all the time, will it ever be enough? And I was like, well, I guess when I die, I will have served everyone I can possibly well. Like, did I do well with what I was given? And every time I do well with what I was given, I'm given so much more. And I'm kind of excited to see what the next level is.
Yeah. And then, but getting to the end of life, right? Whenever, and we don't know when it is, but when you get there, you didn't miss a moment. Like,
that's right.
You gave everything your all. So that not being enough is not so much because of the fear of the lack, but like, when I get to the end of life,
I want to be
everything I was given. I stewarded everything I was given.
And everybody's watching. I built myself a position where people watch me. Yeah. I can't take that lightly. My kids are watching. I never want them to be lazy with their goals. I never want them to be so hard on themselves. I want them to have fun, right? And I can't expect them to do anything I don't do. So are there days where it's hard and where I really want just a vacation? Yeah. So I go take 2 or 4 7-day vacation, and then I go back to work, right? I just think people need to give themselves more rules. There is no like one way to do it, but there is a way that you'll be happy about it, right? Like, you built this amazing company. Everyone around here knows this, right? Then I started seeing you coming out with your books, right? Become an award-winning company. Like, I want to teach other people how to do it. I couldn't wait to get my hands on that book, right? It's about, okay, do it, then teach it, right?
Yes.
Do it, then teach it, and then help someone else. And so that's how we always find our way back to each other and the people who are just trying to do good. There's a good inside of most humans that they haven't lived yet. And once they do it, it's the most addicting thing ever. Some people choose alcohol. Some people choose work. Some people choose faith. They can choose. We're all addicted to something. The moment you become addicted to your impact, it's you wake up differently.
Yeah, it's a good addiction.
It's a great one. And if I don't do that one, I probably am addicted. I've had seasons, right, where I am addicted to the wrong things.
Yeah, you know what you're going to go to if it's not that. Well, and that's something too, right? So a couple of things is like, well, if I don't do this, if I don't do the impact, you've got yours, I've got mine. Yep. This is what I'll be doing.
I already know what I'll turn into.
That's not good. So even on my worst day of this, like, it's better than my best day of that. Yeah. No, I love that. You mentioned something too that I think everybody needs to do is write the list of the 5 people that are closest to you, most important in your life. You had a reel that popped up. And if you don't hit your goals, don't do what you're called to do, don't do what you're set out to do, you're going to let them down.
Yeah.
And think about those people. And what is that letdown? Like, you're even like, go live in what that letdown looks like to motivate you to get off your butt and get to work and just make it happen.
In every room I'm in, I'll ask people, how many of you know what you want? They all raise their hands. How many of you were like, here's where you are, here's where you want to be, you can see it? They could see it, right? They stand on that edge of looking at it most of their life. And I go, okay, well, tell me one thing that if you did every single day, you'd be closer to over there. They all know what to do also. And then I say, so why haven't you done it yet? And they're like, oh, self-doubt, I'm afraid, not enough time. And I was like, well, how long has that been the problem? And they say their entire life. I go, cool. So are you okay keeping that? No. So if you really want over it, write down, and then they're like, and I go, why would you do it? And they're like, oh, for my family. I'm like, your family needed you yesterday. You didn't show up for them. You didn't do it. You stayed on this side. Why? And it bothers me. So I learned this and I said, well, let's just flip the script in your brain a little bit. I'm a huge, I'm a thinking nerd.
Yes.
I'm a master of my own brain because I'm so smart. I'll take myself out as well.
Yes.
Right? So I go, well, let's just fix this. Let's flip the script. Who's the most important to you? Who will you save first when you win? Let's just say you won. Let's say you're over here. Who will you save? And they write down, my mom, I'll buy her a house. Right. My kids, I'll make sure they have enough for 3 generations like we're supposed to in the Bible, right? And they'll write all these things down and I'll go, oh my gosh, how will it feel to buy your mom a house? And I'll talk to them and they'll really live in it. And then I say, okay, so tomorrow you're going to wake up and you need to make sales calls. And tomorrow at the end of the day, you're going to call your mom and be like, I'm so much closer to getting you this house. I crushed it. Or you're going to call her and be like, you weren't enough today. I let you down.
Yep.
Right? So it's always that, what quote am I going to save the world with?
Yep.
It's this. And when you have the answer to it, you'll never lose again. Who loses if I don't win?
Yeah.
And when you know those names and they are burned in your mind every single day, mine was my kids, right? I will not let them see me be a loser. I will not let them see me not matter. I will not let them see me be selfish. I will, and when that was so ingrained in there, every word I said, I tasted before I spit out. Every connection or relationship I had mattered. Who loses if you don't win? And when you answer that, you won't lose again.
If you're a Christian business owner in Northern Colorado, check out one of our sponsors, the Foundry Advisory. The Foundry is a Christian peer-to-peer advisory network where you can plug in as a business owner, not only to talk about how to improve your business, but how to integrate your faith. Check them out at thefoundryadvisory.com. And remember, they're not only a sponsor, but I'm also a member of their group. If you have a story to share and you're thinking of becoming an author to do so, you have to connect with one of our sponsors, Scribe Media. I worked with Scribe to publish Painted Baby, and I'm currently working with them again to publish my next book, Pour Into People. Click on the link in the show notes below to connect with them, and they'll actually give you a little something extra because you came to them through me.
You'll jump the mountain. You'll stop saying self-doubt or time or any of those things matter because that's just convenient camouflage for you to stay poor.
Yeah. You focus on where you want to be and get there. Do you find that they stay there? When people first start that, they make that realization and that shift.
Yeah.
Then they start living there. You seem to start to get pulled back a little bit, and you've just got to give them a little.
Yeah, they need a few things
refocus
to win.
Yep.
One, they need leadership, mentorship, right? You, me, somebody. They got to be listening to someone who's jumped, right? Yeah. They got to drain out those other noises. They have to have accountability and support from a community of winners. Sometimes that's church. Sometimes that's a mastermind. Sometimes that's a training group, whatever it is. And then they have to have a lot of short wins leading to a big one. So they have to win every 30 days, just a little bit. And then it's actually training their mind to win so they can do the big ones. Otherwise, all it remembers is the negative, most painful things. So those 3 things, you'll have a winner. Yeah, and they won't quit. Once they taste a win, you can't ever unlearn that emotion.
Because it tastes good.
Mm-hmm. God, so
and then they're like, "What? This was
like
good."
Your coffee.
I've been missing this coffee my whole life. It is like that, right? When you finally wake up to there's another world. Because some people, I just find they're around people and environments that pull them down, beat them down. It's losing mentality, loser, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't sound nice, but I don't really care. Like you're hanging around a bunch of losers that like to lose.
You'll be the next,
and like to talk about who the winners are taking advantage of or swindling or whatever.
Right. People like to give power to those people who call them out or say you're not performing, or they're like, oh, my spouse he says I haven't done right. Like they like to give them kindness and understanding, like they're trying to help me. I'm like, no, they're hella lost. They wouldn't say that to anyone. Could you imagine a real winner discouraging someone or being like, right? I'm like, my winner friends are never like, you're underachieving. They'll call me at 4 a.m. and be like, get up, get off your rear. We're going today.
You have that crew of
I
people
don't
you know
care
you
if
can
you
like
don't
send
want
an
to.
audio message to at 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
4 or
that's
5
who
o'clock.
loves you.
Yeah.
People are confused on what love is, right? They're very confused. They think it's kindness and listening. It's not. Anyone who wants you to win is shouting at you to get up. You're amazing. Go get it.
Yeah. So totally random question.
Yeah.
What is it like to swim in elephant poop? We're getting so intense, but I can't let you off the hook without.
Oh my
that was
God.
quite a shift, wasn't it? Wasn't it quite a shift in the podcast?
You know what's funny is I always find a way to work poop into my
You
conversations
do,
and training.
you're not getting out of this podcast without talking about this.
Yeah. So, didn't realize it was really a lake of elephant poop until I was in it. It's kind of like, in Thailand, 50 entrepreneurs building their businesses, this amazing, we gave to their sanctuary money to go have this experience. We bathed them in mud. We get to go wash them off. I'm like, oh, they've done something to the water because it's like sparkly blue, right? And I'm like, oh, this is for the tourists, isn't it? Right? So we're in there washing off all of these elephants. They're spraying us with, whatever. And then we see them using buckets, taking their poop out. And I'm like, we are in their toilet.
You're in the toilet.
We are swimming in a toilet of poops larger than our bodies. And I came home with malaria.
Dang.
Whoops. I was the only one. Everyone else was so healthy. So I'm glad I could carry that burden.
Good. You get to carry it for the team. How's malaria feel?
It was horrendous.
Is that pretty rough?
Yeah. You should take those pills before you go somewhere.
We went to Kenya and then Costa Rica. I think in Kenya we took them and they didn't make your stomach feel too good. But
No,
it's
and they make you have nightmares.
Probably better than what
For
malaria
sure.
felt like though.
I was super sick and my kids were there and stuff. So I was like, oh my gosh, I hope not. But I was the one posing for all the photos with them spraying me with their trunks and it going right in my mouth. And but I will never forget it.
You want to go on one of these trips, Joey?
Yes, that was the first one we had like that. But we all need experiences like that are unforgettable. The size of my daughter's smiles, I will never forget by putting them in environments like that. Yeah.
So we do the adventures to Spain and same thing. It's like some of the people you meet, the food, the experiences, that is a once in a lifetime that will never come together again. That's one of the coolest things that I love most about this business.
Yes.
I wouldn't even call it a business. But when did that come up? Like when did you first get an idea to do that? Because those are a lot of work.
There's so much
to
work.
get from. I mean, it's doing the work, but to get from the idea to actually executing it and then stepping out of that, you're like, we did that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
When did that start for you?
Yeah. I think it started when I was a kid. I wanted to break free of chains, right? As soon as somebody offered me a mission trip, a place to travel, we didn't have enough probably growing up to travel, right? It was all road trips and stuff. I had one family growing up that kind of took me around. But I went on several mission trips in high school that I earned the money for myself. And I transformed when I learned more about people and cultures and giving and generosity and how people did things. So I think I got the bug as a freshman in high school. I went to the Bahamas on a mission trip and saw the fancy side and the poor side. And something in me changed. So then when I built all of this, I was training all these people. I was doing it. I'm like, it's much easier to do it in person with people. You could totally change people. But then I learned nobody travels. They save for a lifetime to do one thing, right? The greatest way that I saw change in people was take them outside of their environment, because their environment is usually why they're stuck. Put them in an environment that's like an incubator for success. Put them around joy, energy, ideas, right? The power of the mastermind, the think and grow rich mentality. Give them an experience of richness that they can't experience anywhere else, and then send them back. They'll long for it.
Yes.
Right? So it was the greatest incubator of success, starting from the very first one. I undercharged. I went totally broke on the first one.
Did you lose your butt on it?
And I was like, how am I going to make it? Yes. But then I learned how to do it. And I learned when I undercharged, people under-delivered on their work and they had worse results. When I charged what it was worth and people had to invest and think so hard about doing it, and then they had to go make it pay, they had massive results. So I learned there's a win-win in there about investing in yourself, being scared, going to a place you can write it off, going to a place where you learn more about yourself, learning about how to make an environment, take it home with you that you can continue.
Yeah, I love that. And there's no way they can walk out of that training room. Like you're in Thailand, you can't go home. Like they're stuck there with you. I told the guys on the Camino, I'm like, we're stuck here for 6 days in the middle of nowhere, just walking.
Right. Yeah. And they have to confront what they need to confront.
Yes.
So they can make a difference when they go back. And I wish everyone, this world will transform you if you travel it.
Yeah. And people that look at those as, oh, that's expensive. That's a cost versus an investment.
Oh.
It's for the rest of your life. And that's going to pour off and over to your
I
kids.
never would have done all this without traveling the world.
What was your favorite one so far? Because you've done Greece, you were just in Thailand, you've got Italy coming up. What's been your favorite?
Done Bora
I'm sure they're all your favorite.
I've done Italy before. I've done Lake Como.
Okay.
Some of my favorite places around the world: Australia, Greece. I think my favorite one's always the last one, Thailand, because I get better every time too. So when I get better, everybody gets better. Everybody's like, this was the best one. And anyone who doesn't go is like, I'll never miss another one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I am constantly looking to make it the most well-refined, incredible thing. So the last one's always my favorite and the next one's always the best.
And you're getting repeat offenders, right? You're getting a lot of...
74%.
So these are the guys that I hiked with, and everybody that has a son that can walk, basically, is coming back with their son.
For sure.
Yeah, so just that return
of
that, knowing the impact is really cool to see, and then that just grows and builds and scales.
And I think just earn your way there. If it has to be an online course first, do that. And then if it grows into that, you should have results, but you will never be the same. Yeah. You know? Yeah, I think about my very first investments in... I had no idea what I was doing or how to start or how to build a business or how to do sales. And I spent so much on the forefront, and how many people who were in that previous environment were like, you're wasting money. You don't have money to spend on this. What about your kids? Don't leave them. You know, like all of these doubts. None of this would have happened had I not made my own rules.
Yeah. And it's just, you can't see, it's just that financial and time and energy investments just rooting you to grow and to sprout. And so many people quit. Like, well, I didn't see anything right away. Yeah. And then the people saying stuff about it, they're not doing it. They don't see what you're growing and what you're building. And then you get there. Right. And you're like, well, how'd you get there?
Right.
I've been telling you for 10 years. Right. Like nothing, any overnight success stories, at least a decade. At least a decade.
Yeah, for sure.
Like work hard, look down for a decade, and just don't worry about what anybody else is doing.
Right. Yeah. That's it. Grow for a decade. You'll have the best life ever. Yeah. Right.
How do you do that when it's so the short-sightedness and the quick attention, the quick fix, everything is quick fix, do it fast. Yeah. I mean, how do you stay down for 10 years? It's hard, right? Yeah. Like the reality is it's hard to do.
It's hard. Environment, have great people who are running, right? Run. Look to your left, look to your right. Who's running with you? That's your crew. Yep. Right? That's it. Yep. You stay with them. You keep reaching for someone higher than you, right? Have someone to chase. Yep. And then make wins every 30 days. In the beginning, my goal was what I called the 30-day difference. Sorry, I keep losing my voice. I've talked so much in the last month.
Though. You were coming in off of malaria. You're up in front of like 500 Christian business owners, and you're like, I've got malaria.
I was like, sorry, maybe keep your distance from me. I apologize if I spit on you. But it was like, well, this is when it is. Supposedly I'm not contagious. Okay, good luck, people. But you know, like it's this magical feeling of getting started, right? It's so hard, but every 30 days I can transform something. Right? So it was like, do something that every 30 days people notice a difference in you. That was my goal. How could they see me winning? Well, for me, make one sale a day for 30 days. That will help me I'll be able to pay off one debt. Yep. I will move forward. Okay. Doesn't sound exciting, but it is, right? Then the next one was like, okay, I've worked too hard. I haven't taken care of my health. So I'm going to sweat every day for the next 30 days and people will see a difference and I will see a difference. Then I'm going to make a sale a day and sweat every day the next 30 days and I will transform something. So every 90 days, you'll see a massive rise in what you're capable of. So I just think people are incapable of long-term, highly capable of short-term. So start with 30 days at a time. And for me, I still look at my life 90 days at a time. I'm not the 10-year planner. I'm like, I'm going to rock this 90 days. I'm going to blow my own mind. We're going to do this personally, this professionally, this financially, this spiritually, this impact wise. And then we readjust. We go celebrate. We honor our hard work so that we're excited to do it again. And we go do another 90-day run. So I just think short term is the secret to long term winning.
I love that. And that 30 days, so sail a day. And then you're not stopping that in month 2, but you're adding sweating. So then you're stacking that second thing. You've got 2 things. And then the third 30 days, you've got 3. And then you're just continuing to do that and just building those habits.
And then those things that were hard in the beginning, like sweating daily, becomes like normal. And you don't have to work at that being a goal anymore. You just do it. And that's how you grow over time, right? Read 30 minutes a day for 30 days. Write down one thing you're going to do from it every single day. Next. It's just like, what can you do today? Do that for 30 days, win. Cross the finish line, celebrate it, share it with people so they see you winning, move on. Yeah.
Thanks so much you've got so much that you've shared. Like we could be here. We could be here for hours.
We could be here for 17 days.
We've got probably about 30 business leaders, business owners coming in, and and just a little bit for lunch and coffee.
So
and you're going to speak downstairs. What's next? I want to talk about. You've got some big things on the horizon. I know you're working on a book.
Yes.
You have some TV reaching out to you.
I do.
You allowed to talk about that a little bit? I'm not sure how that all goes. But what do you got cooking?
So we've got a TV show coming, which is cool. They're doing a show on the story of my life, which is wild. Right? I'm like, TV, this is cool. So we're doing that. I think my story is a beautiful gift of overcoming, right? It's the ultimate underdog story of, overcoming divorce, cancer, business building, doubt, self-doubt, and becoming. And it all stemmed from a TED Talk that I did. And the TED Talk was really from an idea I had for a book. And it's kind of like, I've written all these other things. I write every day on social media. But this is going to be the idea. It's really the culmination of 15, 20 years of my life learning how to win at life. And it's this idea, just with dealing with all these entrepreneurs and human beings in general, not even entrepreneurs, about how they lie to themselves every single day, about how the first thought when they have something that's scary or nervous or would be transformational or progress, their first thought is a lie. And their second thought is the truth. And so I'm really working to help people live based on their second thought, right? Even if someone's like, I could do this. This is great. They have this great idea. And the moment they think about taking action on it, all the doubt creeps in. Their first thought is that too wild? Is that too big? Can I? And, but when the second thought goes to facts, how can I? Here's what I do. This is the thing. So it all started with me telling the story of getting cancer. And I sat there looking at my tiny kids going, this can't be the end. I have so much to teach you. Who's going to take care of you? I have to make enough right now that you'll be okay forever. And it immediately put me into action and it put me into studying. Because the first thought was I sat and cried in a pity of, why does this have to be me? Do I deserve this? People close to me said I deserved it for getting a divorce. That's what happens when you make mistakes. And I was like,
so you're like, I'm going to die. And you kind of,
I was going to die.
Everybody says you should. Right?
And that's exactly what I thought. And I was like, am I the human that deserves it? And so I sat in a ball of pity. And then I started researching. How do you cure cancer? What do you do? What are self remedies? I have no money, all these things. And I was like, 68% of people survive this. So it's actually, I have a much better chance than I thought. Who are the doctors? Where do I go to? What do I do? And how do I earn? And so I started focusing on what I could do. And I was like, I will win. In the back of my head, I was like, I'm making it. I'm living. Yeah. I don't even tell anyone I'm sick. And I just focused on winning and healing and doing the right things.
You didn't tell.
I didn't tell anyone.
Anybody.
Mm-mm. Nope. I had one person close to me, bookkeeper, family friend, parent of an old youth kid who believed in me. Yeah. I said, I might need a little help. And I said, but you're not allowed to bring me soup. You're not allowed to call and ask if I'm okay. You're not allowed to tell me to slow down. Are we clear? Yeah. I just need you to know in case something happens, will you sign these documents for my children? Yes. Yeah. And then I went to work and I started training this theory and it happened on repeat. I know how to fix things in my life. And so your first thought, will lie to you. Your second thought's the truth. And so I started making this theory of things in my life where I'd go to do something in business and I'd be like, I don't know if I could do this. And I was like, that's the first thought. On second thought, I think I'll freaking win. On second thought. And so it just kind of became a thing, and all my team kind of picked it up.
Yeah.
And everyone around us, I'd put something out at the thought table, and we'd have all these doubts, and somebody'd be like, but on second thought. And it started to become a thing. So then I built kind of a system around it. And the new book coming out is that system on exactly how to live on second thought and win everything. So the new book's called On Second Thought, I Think I'll Save Myself.
Yeah.
And you can. And when you learn how to save yourself, it's the greatest thing you could do for everyone in your circle. Yeah. So that's what's next. I'm finishing that up next week. Where should I go? I literally just put it on Facebook today and said, I need a week off, quiet.
Where should you go? Go to Spain.
Yeah.
Go to
You
Spain.
keep telling me
Go to
that's
Sevilla,
the one place
Spain.
I haven't been.
Go to Sevilla, Spain.
Maybe I'll just go on Monday.
Just go.
Okay.
Fly to Sevilla. I've got good friends over there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I
So you
think
know
I
that
shall.
our Cafe
Yes.
Sevilla mural down there it's handcrafted
Yeah.
ceramics, like wonderful
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
over there. Angel
So-
and Angel. We're going out to Angel's wedding. This will probably be out right when this will air right as
When
we're
you're
out
there.
You got to go out there. It's the most beautiful place
I
ever.
need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what's next. I just think faster ways to make a greater difference, and books often do that.
Well, from the halls of Loveland High School to the podcast studio, still in Loveland.
Yes. Yes.
Doing
to the
big
girl
things
who
for the
nearly
world.
failed English class. We have best-selling books.
At Loveland? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I speak my books because I don't write good.
Yeah.
Right well.
See?
I
Doesn't
speak
even matter.
them out first.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how I get it out there. Who's your
Yeah.
English teacher at Loveland?
Wait, her husband was the algebra teacher, Evans.
It was Evans. Okay. Okay.
She didn't like me very much.
No. Okay.
But it's okay.
Should be proud of you for writing a
She
book.
might.
What teacher from Loveland High do you want to shout out? Here to the camera.
Oh, man. I have a couple. Okay. Gary Glover, coach
Yep.
and mentor, amazing human being. Mark Finley. He even did all the Hall of Fame things from that. He noticed me after and came back and said, I mean, so many kind things, even got choked up. Like, I think we missed you at Loveland High. We didn't see what a talent you were back then. And I said, nobody could have found me. I was so afraid, but to kind of talk to him now and be inspired, and him send very kind messages all the time. Sharon Olson changed my life. Student council sponsor. She was the epitome of Velvet Hammer and called me out for doing the dumb stuff and being what I was capable of. She taught me all of those group activities that I do in corporations all of the time.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my key ones. But really, Loveland gave us a really unique community environment. People loved and cared for us. It was the greatest place to grow up, and my kids go there now.
They're at Loveland now. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So cool.
Loveland. Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up. We're going to have more coffee, lunch. Before we go, we wrap up the show same way every time. You've got this statement that you want to leave with
Yes.
the world when you leave it. What did you write down?
Yes, I did. I wrote down, who loses if you don't win? And when you figure that out, you'll never lose again.
Love it. Danelle Delgado, that is a wrap.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love it. I did it again. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, drop a comment below. Make sure to watch the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe. If you're a business owner looking to improve your life, leadership, faith, family, and business, I've got a couple of free things that I'd love to share with you. So go to mattshoup.com and download my free tools. I guarantee these couple of things will get you started off in the right direction.